Welcome to the Real Joe Show. This is one special show today. I'm super psyched to have Colin Tommerson on the show. He is a mortgage branch manager for Fairway Mortgage. He's a producer there as well. Today, we are not going to be talking about the nitty-gritty of doing deals. We're going to be talking about the pathway to mindful success. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
This is cool. I've been wanting to do this for I think we met last January. No, actually, it was later. It was this spring, right? I was just coming out. Yeah. So I can't believe it was not that long ago. I feel like you've been such an influence in my world since we first met that first day, and I'm just so happy to know you. Let me back up a little bit right now so we can understand where this story is coming from and where this is might be heading. We don't really know. So Colin and I met. I was introduced to Colin and went to his office just to sit down and get to know him and see how we might be able to collaborate on business. And at that point, I was going through some crap in my world. I was just overcoming some health issues, and the conversation just got into what's most important in life. And Colin gave me a couple of books that really, really helped me out, and we can dig into that later and why you picked those books. So let me ask you this: pathway to mindful success. What does that mean to you? How'd you get to that?
So I've been using Pathway to Mindful Success for probably 15 years. And it has to do with my mindset and how I approach the way that I do things, why I do things, how I do things in my personal life as well as my business. Because there's a lot of cross-pollination there in our industry, especially. This isn't a job that you clock in and you clock out for. Right. Right. Being in real estate really is a lifestyle. So, Pathway to Mindful Success, really at the root of that is mindset, and how my mindset helps me live a happy and productive life and shows up in my business as
well. So we're all told we got to get up and grind in the morning, get it done, like start hitting the phones, grind it out, and then hit the chaos of the afternoon, putting everything together and keeping it all going. And how do you apply that to mortgages and your business when there's so many moving parts? How do you keep all that floating?
Well, I start, right away when you say grind, that right there starts to, I start to think about my internal dialogue, right? And the messages and the stories that I'm telling myself. So I don't use the word grind, for example. It feels very harsh and rigid to me. We hear it a lot. A lot of people around me say it. I use a variation of grind, same, similar type of principle, but I would say continuous effort. Right.
Okay.
So if I make, because I'm framing things, and if I have to get up and grind, I'm not always up for that. Right. But I am up for continuously making an effort. And I lost. What was the other part of that question, though? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How do I deal with that?
Yeah, like how do you stay mindful when you have all these pieces of a contract, a deal going on that are pulling at you? People have their needs. You have people that have their wants. You have appraisers. You have clients. You have agents. You have attorneys. All these people coming at you with different needs and wants. And how do you maintain that mindfulness where you don't get into the grind?
A lot of practice. And I'm not, and I fail a lot every day. I make a ton of mistakes. But I give myself grace. And I, and I try again. That's where the continuous effort piece comes in. And, because grinding and, how do you keep going and how do you stay mindful? I don't. My ego follows me around like a shadow, right? And all the crap that I've been carrying with me since before I could walk, right? My backpack, it weighs me down too. You know what I'm saying? So, I keep trying. I give myself grace, and I know that whatever it is, this too shall pass. Right? There's one constant in life, and that's change. So, I know that things are going to change. So, when things aren't going quite like I'd like them to be going, I hang in there, right? Ride the highs and roll with the lows, because I know that it's going to change, hopefully sooner than later. And in the meantime, I have tools that I use, like meditation, for example.
Yeah.
And and I'll even say, so when I start talking about meditation and that word.
Hold on a second. If you're watching this, don't hang up the phone. Stay focused. Yeah. It's worth paying attention. Don't let the word meditation say, pay attention. This is good stuff.
Dude, I'm glad you said that. And so everybody, like we didn't talk before this, right? Like we're freestyling this whole thing. Absolutely. So what I've been thinking about is, the word meditation people have a reaction to it. You're right. And I get it, because it can feel a little heavy, and it feels like, I don't know why, it just does. I understand. So what I'd like for us to talk about is just breathing, not meditation necessarily. Let's just talk about breathing. Okay.
All right.
And why, and why
we all breathe. What do you mean? We all breathe.
But do you breathe consciously?
No.
If you consciously
isn't
breathe,
that the same thing as meditation? Though, when you're truly.
Let's not throw that meditation word out there. People get weird about it.
All right.
You know what I mean? And it has a feeling to it, right? But to lighten that up, meditation. The definition of meditation is to bring awareness to. Okay. So as I was thinking about, having this conversation with you, what do we want to bring awareness to? I'd like to encourage folks listening to bring awareness to your breath, because your breath is your center. Your breath will bring you back to your center. If that word feels a little funny, or you can't quite put your finger on it, when I talk about, your center, how about an anchor?
Sure.
Your breath is your anchor. You can drop it, let it sit, and you can, really reframe your perspective.
Instantly.
Not right? Quite.
If you're in the middle of a heated situation and you stop and you pay attention to your breath just for a few breaths, it's going to slow you down a little bit.
It absolutely will. It changes your, even as we've started this conversation, right? I had some I wouldn't call it anxiety, but I don't do this all day, every day, right? But as we talked about it in the subject matter that we're discussing, I'm already finding my heart rate starting to chill out a little bit, and I'm getting more centered, right? I'm recalibrating as we talk, because we're talking about consciously breathing. And yes, So, why do I consciously breathe? Because it makes me feel better, right? It makes me more happy. I suffer less. And when I talk about being more happy, I'm not talking about like all these like magic feelings and, skipping down the street type of sort of thing. I'm just a little bit, less of an asshole, right?
Yeah.
I feel better. And I'm cool, man. I'm cool. I'm okay. And that's really what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Right. And then from there, if we can expand it and we have those moments of like elation and joy, that's great. But fact of the matter, bottom line, really, plain and simple of it all is I feel better. Right. And when I feel better, I'm breathing now. People around you will notice. You're better for your family. You're better for your teammates. You're better for the people that we serve. It shows up everywhere. And in a really positive way. So that's why I do it.
How'd this happen? How'd you get into this? What brought you to this?
A lot of pain and darkness. Honestly. I've had, we all have a story. I've got one too. I've got the scars to prove it. Dating back to before I could walk. We don't need to get into all the details of what that necessarily looked like specifically, but it's not pretty. Those, my experiences, growing up in a very adverse environment and conditions, and not having tools and not having help led me to a lot of destructive behavior. So I spent over a decade heavily under the influence of drugs and alcohol. I'm really happy to report that I'm glad to be alive. And I've been sober for February 7th will be 17 years.
Wow. Congrats. That's great.
So I just got tired of the bullshit, man. At some point it's like enough is enough. And I was tired of feeling bad. I didn't want to feel like crap anymore. So I decided to do something about it. If you don't like the way things are doing, change it. It's on me.
Right. How'd you find it? How'd you find these practices?
Through my teachers. I have a lot of teachers, coaches, therapists, and something else just as a little sidebar, it's important for us to pay attention to who we hang out with. Really important to pay attention to who you hang out with. And, I was exposed to meditation, which has been really helpful. And I'm also, a lot of my practice is done in the yoga studio.
That's right.
Another big help for me in being it's like, the best version of yourself. It's like, man, that's pretty high standard. It's like, I'm just trying to be a little bit better than I was yesterday, or somebody that I'd like hanging out with.
Right.
And, moving your body is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. You get fresh oxygenated blood pumping through your veins and your brain. It changes you physically. You can physically feel the change. And, those endorphins that are released are very healthy, and it does a lot of good for your mental and spiritual state as well.
Yeah. This is all great stuff. And people that are watching, you were talking about how, being mindful, breathing. How does that lead to success?
Because it creates space for me to choose how to respond to what's going on around me.
Okay.
It allows me to be, not allows me to, it enables me to be accountable for my emotions. Which in our space or in our industry, man, we're in the people business.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard business, right? I have a hard time dealing with my own self. We're dealing with really good people that are sometimes having bad days or that are under a lot of pressure, right? So, how can we best serve the folks that we come in contact with? And that's by being accountable for our own emotions, being the person that we want to be, the person that we would like to be on the other side of the table helping us. And if I'm caught up in all the stuff and I'm not accountable for my emotions and I'm reactive, if I'm reactive and if I'm not responding but I'm reacting, I'm not in control. And I'm not making good decisions. So, when stuff shows up for me and those indicators, like I tingle, like the back of my neck starts to tingle a little bit. I feel like I'm getting hot. I get flush. My heart rate starts to giddy up a little bit. I get frustrated or I get angry. Those, by the way, those are my snap responses. Something comes up, I'm pissed. I'm having, some aversion to it. And that's because my brain's been trained to do that my whole life, right? There's a mental muscle plasticity, it's called. And, we react in an unhealthy, negative way over and over and over. It just becomes habitual. It's a pattern. Good news is you can change your brain. So, that's what I'm trying to do on an ongoing basis is, along that thread, when I feel those, when I feel myself starting to have a response to, or, a response to any kind of situation, being aware of that is the first step, right? Recognizing it, being aware of it, and then I can go, okay, Colin, chill out, take a few conscious breaths, give yourself some space so that I can respond in a healthy way.
So that almost sounds to me like you're slowing down. So does that get in the way of getting things done? We all have, we have deadlines. We have a certain number of people we want to talk. We have challenges throughout. Does it get in the way of you accomplishing what you need to accomplish when a lot of people build into that energy, they lean into that energy, and sometimes I do because I'm not as practiced at this as you are. You lean into the adrenaline of the moment to get stuff done.
I think people get sucked into it. They don't necessarily lean into it because you don't lean into something that doesn't feel good, right? You get sucked into it, right? And it doesn't. It gives me more time, not less time, because it takes less time to do things the right way. You get sucked in, you react, or you're spinning. You're on the start line. You hit the gas, and the tires just spinning. You're not going anywhere, but you're exerting a lot of energy.
Right.
You slow your roll a little bit, step back, and one of my teachers reminds me often to fall back behind the noise. Right? Be the witness. fall back behind the noise, be the witness, recalibrate, get your disposition correct, and then respond.
So you're responding. You're not. You don't react. You respond.
I react all the time.
Well,
There's openness and transparency. No, I react and I go, damn, oops. And then I go, well, we'll try again. But no, I do react. I do make mistakes. But if my intention is to react less often and respond in a healthy way more often with practice. Takes a lot of practice. Been practicing today.
What does practice mean?
Trying again. Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes better.
Right.
Practice. So I practice my breathing. I practice catching. So really, it's catching yourself before you react in a way where you're like, ooh, like, damn, messed that one up, right? So I practice catching myself, right? And then, which is key. That's number one. And when I've done that, I've given myself a chance. And then I practice breathing. I'm breathing good now, even though like my adrenaline is pumping. I'm having a great time. Thank you very much. But yeah, so I practice catching. I practice noticing how I'm feeling. Hit the pause button. Practice breathing, and then I practice responding in a healthy way.
So, real estate, mortgage business, things shift all the time. It's always shifting. Mm-hmm. We're in a big shift now. We're in a big shift before. It just shifts all the time. How do you manage that? Does your approach to breathing allow you to see it clear and to be able to respond more accurately?
It does. It definitely does. Let's see, because I'm not as attached. Mm-hmm. I'm not as attached to what I want. I'm not as attached to what I expect, right? Especially having expectations of others. You have expectations of how others should act or behave. You're really setting yourself up for disappointment. So having less attachment, and I talk, we call it what's the whiskey throttle. That's one term. So if you've seen, America's Funniest Home Videos, and it's Christmas morning, and Granny's out there on Junior's dirt bike that he got for Christmas. She has no business sitting on that thing. She gets on it. She's like, I'm going to the end of the driveway. She pegs the throttle. That's called whiskey throttle. There's nothing stopping you but the side of a tree. Unless you've got, like the taste of tree bark, which I don't. I try to let up, so like letting go, not being attached, not having expectations. It helps me stay flexible.
When you have a client who's hard driving, or an agent or that's pushing hard, trying to get, pushing themselves on into the situation, we all have them. How do you work that where you're maintaining your composure and you're not turning them off with not reacting the way they expect you to react?
I walk away. to put it down. Because I'm initially going to have a reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just will. You know, I'm an imperfect human in all the ways. And I'm also, I like to get, knock things out, get them done. So it's hard for me, if I see an email come up or a text or a voicemail or whatever it is, I like knocking them out, getting them done, get it done. And, if I do it today, I don't have to worry about it tomorrow.
Right.
If something comes up and it requires me to show up at a higher level, and if I'm not there, I put it down, walk away, go get my disposition correct, come back to it when I'm able to show up show up at a higher level.
Right. Good.
Yeah, and that's a lot of I don't realize. I'm just now realizing, maybe because I'm sitting here watching myself talk to you. I say the word practice a lot. Apparently, I've had a lot of practice, man.
Right.
I've been in the game for 21 years, and I've made a lot of mistakes. Make mistakes every day.
Yeah.
But I try to learn from them. So put it down, walk away, go for a walk. So like I'm gonna say the M word, right? And then the meditation word. There's a lot of different. There's a lot of different ways and methods for meditation. What made me think of that was walking. Right, I do walking meditations most mornings, right? And when I'm walking and I'm meditation in motion, is I'm paying attention to like my footsteps. I'm paying attention to how I'm breathing while I'm taking my footsteps. I'm paying attention to the sprinklers that are running in the neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
the birds that are singing, the leaves that are blowing in the wind. I'm bringing awareness to those things. So it can show up like that. It can show up in the shower. The shower is a good place to practice for those that are, that are listening and interested. The shower is a good spot because you're there, and that's your spot, that's your place, that's your time, right? So paying attention, to when you're washing your hair. Joe, I know that takes you some time. So, washing your hair.
You shave on the shower.
Brushing your teeth is a good one.
So I had mentioned the book at the beginning of this, and that's probably a good time to give it a plug right here. It was a good book for me to read. It brought back memories of I had already started practicing, and again, practicing meditation, right? You don't do meditation, you practice meditation, because it's always a practice. It's always practicing. So I had a good friend, Mary Mullen, who was very much into it, and another good friend, Crystal Doobie, who was turned me on to meditation a bunch of years ago, and I had forgotten. I had let it go. And when you gave me the book, 10% Happier, that brought a lot of that back. And here it is, Dan Harris.
Yeah.
I think that's a great book for anybody who, and I'll put a link down there for when after the show. Yeah, it's a good book. It really makes it simple. It gives you a real reason why. And his story is not unlike many stories where just the stress of life gets in the way. And it's a funny, he does a good job. I so appreciate that you gave me that book.
You're welcome, brother.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is a good book because it's Dan telling his story, right? So he talks about being in journalism and freaking out on the air, and all of his all the steps along his journey, and going from covering war zones as a journalist to finding himself on like the religious beat, and all the people that he met along the way. And he just happened to stumble upon meditation. And he was like, yeah, calling BS on it. And then he started hanging out, with these folks a little bit. And he was like, this kind of works. I don't feel like such an asshole anymore.
Right.
And he talks about 10%. 10% happier is like just a little bit, just feel a little bit better. And that's why I talk about, like, man, I'm cool. I feel, like I'm okay. I'm not skipping around. I got stuff weighing me down. But I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm gonna be all right. You said something a moment ago that when you were talking about I got you saying practice now.
Yeah.
Partner with the practice, right? Meditation is my homeboy. I partner with the practice. I carry around with me in my pocket. When I need a little help, it's a tool, and healing is a process. It's not a destination.
Right.
And breathing and meditating and being conscious and present and aware is healthy.
Yeah. And it
For
takes
you,
practice.
you're right, man. It shows up, dude. It shows up, and other people notice.
Yeah.
And it shows up for you at home, your relationships with your spouse, with your children, with your teammates, with the families that we serve to help buy homes. It's really, really healthy and helpful. And it shows up for your health too.
Mm-hmm.
It can come off like blood pressure medication, help you lose weight, get your cholesterol to a healthy level, just feel better. I'm not walking, I'm not walking around, feeling great every day. I struggle, dude. I do, but I've got tools, I've got resources, and meditation and breathing is, my go-to, they're the first ones I go to. The first one I go to is my breath.
Yeah.
If I'm starting to get out of control, I breathe. Get it back between the lines.
Yeah, I got to get better at that myself. It's a constant, right? It's constant. And I think if everybody paid attention to that a little bit more, and then a lot, and when the biggest fear, and Dan writes about it, you spoke to it, meditation is it's not a way of life. It's just something you do to help you get through it. It's just a tool, like you just said. It's just a tool in your pocket.
Absolutely.
That we can use.
Yeah, and there's people get intimidated by meditation.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's why I talk about just breathing, right? And you're like, oh, don't we all breathe? But do you breathe consciously? When was the last time you thought about breathing?
Yeah.
We don't. So if you bring awareness to, which is the definition of meditation, if you bring awareness to your breath, which will change your, how you feel physically and emotionally, you're meditating.
Yeah.
And meditation, oh, by the way, doesn't mean like, clear your mind. And, I can't meditate. I can't sit still. I can't, stop the thoughts. No shit. No, nobody can, right? You can't stop like this monkey mind. If you were in between my ears, man, you'd be like, whoa, it's intense. So you can't stop that. You can't stop the thoughts, but you can learn to let them pass, right? Just as quick as they come up, let them go, right? And there's different analogies that you can use, like clouds passing in the sky. And if that feels kind of kind of fluffy to you. Another one that I use is when I'm breathing, so deep inhales through the nose, deep exhales through the mouth like you're fogging a mirror, right?
Yeah.
Close your eyes and do it. Inhale through the nose and pay attention to the pauses, right? The pause before the in-breath, the pause at the top of the in-breath. Exhale through your mouth like you're fogging a mirror. Pay attention to the pause at the end of the exhale with your eyes closed. And for me, one of the, as the thoughts are coming and going, or if you want to give yourself another hack, is give yourself something else to think about. Count your breath.
Yeah.
If you count your breaths, or for me, I love being in the ocean. So I think about, like when you're like, if I'm laying on my back, just floating in the ocean, when I breathe in, I'm going up, and then the wave just kind of, like flowing down with that, and I find a rhythm.
Yeah. I use the analogy when a thought comes that I don't want, I put it on a leaf in a river and I just watch it float away, and it's gone.
Bye.
Yeah. It sounds strange.
Another thought will show up, right? And it's like, put that one on the river, let it roll,
Yeah.
Let it go. Let go of it. If it ain't serving you, let it go.
Yeah. Colin, this was great.
I've been done.
We could go on, and we shall, just not here right now.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming on. Any last words? People want to contact you for mortgage needs, a phone number. It's probably the best. They want to contact you to talk about meditation and mindful success.
I'd be happy to help. It's a lot of fun. It's interesting that a lot of people that we, that I work with, my realtor referral partners are friends. We all have this similar conversations. People that we've done deals for have become friends. The loans are the easy part. The numbers are the easy part. Loans are what we do. It's not who I am, right? The mortgage is the vehicle for me to spread happiness, for me to spread love, right? That's what I do. I don't do loans. I don't chase loans. I chase connections.
Yeah.
With the people that we serve, and that's what fulfills me. That's what gets me out of bed. And it works out. It shows up. We have a healthy mortgage business. So anybody that's interested in learning more or talking more about it, feel free to shoot me a text. We'll set up some time. We can have a chat. Happy to share. Any more in addition to, what we talk about this book. This camera's got it's like a mirror effect, so I'm all backwards.
Yeah, you got it.
That's the book, great book. And then he follows it up with this one. So this is his story, right? That one's Dan's story. Sound meditation. So it doesn't read like a textbook. It's
not at all. It's a story.
Funny. He is funny. This dude is funny, and he's very, very intelligent. It's a good book. It's fun read. And then here's the practical one, right? Meditation will get you, skeptics.
Yeah, that's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, hang on, Colin. We're gonna sign off, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks for coming on.